Yo, it's your boy Chris Perro. Was good. Back with another one. Today I just want to talk about some of this stuff. Like, I be watching so much stuff on YouTube about people auditing the police and everything, and how they interact with the police and how people are treating the civilians. And to me, that's wrong. Like, right now, I'm actually going to school for criminal justice, and I'm gonna be the person that's gonna hold these police accountable for their BS. Okay, like, I'm not with it. I'm gonna hold everybody accountable, from the president down to civilians themselves. If you actually do something legitly wrong, I will hold you accountable for it. If you're doing something that's not legitly wrong, that doesn't make sense to charge you with, that does not make sense to hit you with any type of breaking the law, as they say, I'm not gonna go for you guys on that, because to me, jaywalking across the street is not illegal to me. That is not illegal. They only make it illegal because they don't want to deal with your body. That's the only reason why they make that illegal. It is not illegal in my eyes. Okay? You cussing them out, you flipping the bird is not illegal, but they use those as an excuse to arrest you. And I'm not with that. I am not with that. I am not with police trying to tyrant over our rights, our First Amendment rights, trying to force us to give our IDs, trying to force their way into our houses, trying to force us to do something that they tell us to do. And what I have been hearing on a lot of these videos that I've been watching is, I have been watching these people, these cops literally tell these people straight the heck up, you're gonna obey me. I'm not your slave. I am not your child. I am not nothing. Even if I was your child, I will not obey you. I don't have to obey you. I don't work for you. I don't do none of that. It's already bad enough when we work at these jobs that we have to follow the rules and regulations of these companies ordered by the CEO of the company. It's already bad we have to follow that and not go off our own instincts. Our own instincts state that we do what we got to do to get our job done, not follow rules and regulations that these people push onto us and tell us we have to do. That's not how that works. Okay? We don't have to do anything anybody tells us to do. Just like how there was a time, speaking of it, there was a time that my wife went into the hospital to get checked for our daughter at Sunrise Hospital in Las Vegas. I went in with my camera and I was recording. They told me I had to leave. Then I went in there with my children so I could go be there to go see my daughter on the ultrasound or whatever. And they told me, you can't come into the building with the children. Mind you, it's a children's hospital, but I can't come in the hospital with my children. I had to go outside. These people take advantage of things thinking they could do that. I don't care what anybody says. A hospital is not a private property, period. Hospitals ain't private property. If you let the public come in through your doors to get help or get seen, it is a public building, period, point blank. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the law says. I don't care what the security say. I don't care what the CEO say. If you let the public go into that hospital to get seen, it is a public hospital. It is not a private hospital. If it was private, then you would have to tell everybody straight up, before you could come here, you got to book an appointment, get approval by us to be able to come into this building. If you do not give me that information, or do not tell them people that information, it is not a private property. So don't try to force something onto somebody saying you could get arrested for coming into this property with your children, or you could come in here and get arrested for recording. Anything that's in a public accessible areas, you could record, you could be in. I told them I'm gonna sit in the lobby while she goes and get checked, since I can't take them to the back. She told me no. She told me I had to go outside. And you know what? They got hit with a big lawsuit on that. They got hit with a lawsuit because you cannot tell somebody they can't bring their children in the hospital and sit in the lobby. You can't do that. So, mind you, it was 100, I think it was like 109, 108 that day. It was hot. And these kids is like, the time frame when my daughter was caught, it was like, how old is she? Was like maybe 2. Yeah, maybe 2.5, maybe. And I had her outside in the heat. This was me and my wife's first daughter, and we was outside in the heat because we had to take the bus to get there because my wife's car was down, so we had to take the bus there. And it was hot outside. It was hot, so I wanted to take my babies into a cool environment. They wouldn't let me do it. But it's really making me mad how these police are overstepping their boundaries. They're trying to check auditors for using their First Amendment right, their Second Amendment, their Fourth Amendment, their Fifth Amendment. They don't like people that know their amendments or their constitutional rights, and they get mad off at it. They get mad when you flip a bird at them. They get mad when you call them a pig. They get mad when you call them a B word and all that. I don't understand this world to this day. Like, and not just that. Police, could shoot us and kill us and nothing happens to them. But when we shoot and kill them, or when we shoot and kill somebody else, we get arrested. We get charged with assault with a deadly weapon and murder, but they don't get that put onto them. I don't see where that is right. I don't see where they could get away with that. A badge is immaterial item. It is either, I don't know what they make it is. I don't know if they make it out of aluminum. I don't know if they make them out of steel. I don't know if they make them out of plastic. I don't know how they make their badges, but that stuff is not real. A badge is not real to me. It is an item that was made for somebody to have some type of authority, and I don't consider that a badge. I don't consider that authority. I don't consider any of that. Cops don't have authority over any civilians at all. They don't. Period, point blank. We have authority over ourselves. Period. We could tell ourselves, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. You could go and do this or you could go and do that. The cops try to act like they could run us, and that's not how this works. You cannot run civilians at all. If let's say right now, Donald Trump, what he did, okay, and he got charged with something, but he's our president right now, and he's still getting away with this. But if we did that same exact thing, if we civilians did the same exact thing as he did, we would be behind bars. We will be charged because he's the president. He's not getting charged, and that's not right. You see how the system works? They treat us civilians like crap, but treat somebody that's got money or a higher power or hiring the state system or hiring any type of thing, they treat them better than they treat us. He is getting away with a lot of stuff that he did. I feel that he did the same thing with this election. Because how did he beat her and she didn't win? But then we found out that there was a girl that got caught for throwing away ballots for the girl. And Kamala Harris, I can't remember her name. I think that's her name. I can't remember it. I don't know if I said it correct or none of that. But we found out that she threw a lot of her ballots away. So she could potentially won that. So I feel that he did the same thing again this time. They just letting it go because he's president again. And I'm hearing that he's trying to get Obama locked up. I don't know if that video was real or if that's true, but this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that he's trying to get Obama locked up. Why are you getting everybody locked up? Because they catching you in your act. Everybody is doing a lot of stuff that it makes no sense. You guys are worrying about nonsense and not worrying about murderers, rapists, child molesters, and so on and so forth. You worry more about the less issues like jaywalking, child support, what else? Some other stuff, but jaywalking and child support, you want to lock a person up for not paying child support? Where is that cool? Where is that okay? It's not okay because of the fact of you're getting mad because they can't pay the child support, but when you lock them up, they're not going to be able to pay the child support then either. And then if they had a job and they wasn't paying child support and they had a job and you lock them up, they get out, they're not going to have a job and they're still not going to be able to pay child support. It don't make sense. You guys are doing it backwards. Like, you shouldn't be locking up anybody, period, over child support. That is basically giving the opposite person the authority over you and tell you, oh, I'm going to go to the court. If you don't pay my child support, I'm going to go to the court and I'm going to let them know you ain't been paying. And I'm going to get you locked up. That's not right at all. At all. And jaywalking, if a person wants to put their life in jeopardy, that's on them. Because jaywalking is not a crime to me. And I will never hold anybody accountable for jaywalking because it don't make no sense at all. It doesn't make sense to me. So none of that makes sense. But these tyrant police and these tyrant officials, government officials, so on and so forth, is ridiculous. Like, very much ridiculous. Okay? Very much ridiculous. But I don't know. That's just where my head is right now. I'm watching a lot of this. I'm going to come back with some more. I'm going to tell you guys some more of how I feel. But right now, you know, this is all I got at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep watching more of these videos and see how these police act. And I'm a witness in the world how the police act. Matter of fact, speaking of that, I got arrested one day when I was at my job and I was working. My homeboys that's always on the strip, they were sitting by a power box, smoking some weed and sipping on some liquor and whatnot, just like everybody on the strip doing. There was a man that went over there. It was an undercover police officer. He went over there acting like a friend, chilling with him and so on and so forth. This man grabbed, was like, hey, let me see the dog real quick. So he grabbed the leash of the dog to act like he was being buddy-buddy with him so he could see him and so whatnot and hold him a little bit. But it was an undercover police officer all the time. They only grabbed his dog so he don't have to deal with the dog after when they were trying to go arrest him. So they started arresting every one of them. And I seen it and I got mad because of the fact is I seen my boys wasn't doing nothing. They were just sitting there doing everything like everybody else was doing, smoking and drinking. That's it, on the strip. That's all they was doing. And they decided to mess with them. So I straight up said, you guys are bees. You are peas for that. Y'all messing with these guys that ain't doing nothing wrong. And so on and so forth. And I just kept saying, y'all peas for that. Y'all peas for that. One police officer ended up taking one of the dudes walking in front of me and then ended up calling his partners and telling them, hey, y'all need to get him. So they arrested me for my freedom of speech, my First Amendment right. I have the right to call you a P. I have the right to call you a B. You know what I'm saying? I have the right to do all that. As long as I don't threaten your life, I'm allowed to call you those. It is not illegal. It's my First Amendment right to call you whatever I want to call you. So they arrested me, took me in, and I was in jail for 8 hours for some First Amendment. And you know what made it worse is when a cop arrested me, he said, I know you're doing your First Amendment right. He said, I know it. But then he came up with some excuse talking about I have to take you in because my boss told me to. No. Your boss told you to take me in because you guys didn't like the fact that I called y'all peas or bees. And then they said you impeded in my investigation. In Vegas, in Las Vegas, I have to be at least 15 feet near you to be impeding in your investigation. I was more than 15 feet away from these men. So I wasn't impeding in anything. But that's one of my little stories of what happened with me, you know what I mean? While dealing with these police. They're very much corrupted. Police is very much corrupted. But until next time, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all want me to talk about next. You know what I'm saying? I could talk about anything. Like, you know, I could talk about anything. So let me know, and I could hit y'all up about that and talk about it and look into some research on that and so on and so forth. But you know, don't let these tyrant cops overstep your rights. So if you feel that these cops is overstepping your rights, make sure you look over your rights and make sure you look about the ID states and when you could be ID'd and so on and so forth. Because that's where a lot of it comes, a lot of these situations come into play is when you don't give them your ID. You refuse to give them their ID and they get mad about it. So look into all that, and then when you find out that you don't have to give them it unless you committed the crime, then don't give it to them at all. Don't give them your ID at all unless they could tell you what crime you committed. And if they take you in for a crime that they said you committed and you did not commit, sue them and you're gonna win that lawsuit. But until next time, it's your boy Chris Pera. Like, comment, subscribe again, and let me know what y'all want me to talk about next, and I got y'all. Deuces.